Good morning, ladies. Today is May 4th, and we are going to be looking in your new packet that you either should have received or will be receiving. Um, so we are starting week 5, and today we're going to be doing just a little bit of review work to start out the week. So you are going to be looking at pages 7 and 8 today for this lesson. On page 7, it is just kind of a quick review with 21 questions. Um, and then on page 8, you have a fluency game that you can play with a partner. So for page 7, you'll see that there are a couple vocabulary words up in this section that might not be super familiar for you. So I want you to be looking through your packet starting on page 10. You'll notice that these square little cards are going to be vocabulary cards, and this is going to go all the way to page 34. So you'll have vocabulary cards every couple pages throughout this entire lesson or unit. We are going to be starting measurement tomorrow. Um, so using some of these vocabulary cards, you can kind of get your brain started thinking about this next unit that we're going to be talking about. So you'll notice up here, customary and metric are two words that maybe you're not super familiar with. So I would suggest looking through from pages 10 through 34 to find some of those words. Down in the bottom, 17 through 21, same thing. This is all going to be about measurement. So you're definitely going to want to use those vocabulary cards to help you on these problems as well. All right, so we're going to look at number 18 together just to kind of get your brain thinking about it. So on 17 through 21, you're going to be circling the appropriate unit of measure for each item. So on this one, we're talking about yards and inches. And it says the length of an ear of corn. So this is going to be like corn on the cob. Yards, so when we're thinking about yards, this is going to be a yardstick. Okay, so a yardstick is what we use during morning meeting as our pointer for our morning message. And then inches, we're going to be thinking about like a ruler. So 3 rulers are going to make up one of those long yardsticks. So if you're thinking about an ear of corn, so a corn on the cob, are you going to be using that big long yardstick or would you use a ruler? Remember, a ruler is broken into 12 inches and a yardstick is going to be 3 feet. So think about what that would look like. Would it be make more sense to use a ruler that's in inches or a yardstick to measure corn? Very yawny today. To measure corn on the cob. And we would want to make sure that we're using inches to measure that. Up in this top portion, you're just going to be filling in. You'll notice there's only 4 blanks, but 5 words. So one of those words is not going to be used. On the second part, 5 through 12, you're going to be finding the product. Remember, when you're multiplying, your answer is going to get bigger. On some of them, you might be able just to use your strategy of finding that basic fact and then adding the 0. On number 6, you can notice we have the number 24. That exponent tells us how many zeros we want to add on to 24. And then thinking about like number 7, 16 times 7, we can use that standard algorithm. When we're looking down on question 11, you'll notice that you have a decimal in this problem. So when you're multiplying a decimal, remember that power of 10, the exponent tells us how many times we want to move the decimal. We're moving to the right because we want that answer to get bigger. So each number would have its own bowl, and then my decimal is actually going to go in between that 0 and 2, which means that the 46 is now, the 4 is in the thousands place, 6 is in the hundreds place. So that's going to make that number get quite bigger. And remember, we're multiplying, so we're moving to the right. Down on numbers 13 through 16, it says find the quotient. So we're going to be practicing some division. Again, you can find that basic fact And you can always cross off zeros and then add in those zeros for whatever's left over. Some of these problems you may need to use long division, that standard algorithm, putting that 176 on the inside as your dividend and 16 on the outside as your divisor. On page 8, this is where you have your fluency game. It says find a partner. You can do this on your own, but I would recommend maybe asking a parent or a sibling or cousin, whoever you're with, to play with you. So what you're going to do is you're going to need a piece of paper and pencil. And then each partner is going to choose if you'd prefer to be light blue or dark blue. So if me and Mr. Babs were playing, maybe I'll be partner 1, he'd be partner 2. I would be light blue, he would be dark blue. So what we would do is we would both pick a number from this side portion. So maybe I'm going to pick 25 and he's going to pick 4,841. So we put our finger on that for each of us and then we multiply. So we would take 25 times 4,841. And if the answer is light blue, which is my color, then I would get a tally. But if we answered this problem and the answer, the product was dark blue, then he would get a tally. And then the first person to get 7 tally marks is the winner. All right, so then once you complete these 2 pages, you're going to go to Pearson Realize, and I have assigned a game for you today. Remember, it's just kind of a review day. It's a Monday. We're getting our brains kind of back into the swing of things and getting ourselves geared up for that measurement unit. So you have a game today that has been assigned. 5 for 20 game is going to be the name for your lesson today on Pearson Realize.